Hey guys, what's going on? It's Zack here.
Dakota over here.
And we're from Razzlefang. We're going to be doing our third vlog. And today's topic is gun control.
Gun control! Gun control! What the fuck?
Get out of here!
They don't control us! Get out! America!
Get out!
Give me that sense of America! I believe it is necessary in some accounts, like automatic weaponry and highly explosives. We don't need those in the United States.
Highly explosive.
Highly explosives, as in like grenade launchers, RPGs. We don't need that.
You're allowed to shoot someone if they're trespassing, or if like they're invading, like self-protection. Can you imagine someone sitting on their doorstep with a fucking grenade launcher? You've seen Gran Torino, right?
Yes.
Imagine Clint Eastwood, instead of a shotgun, he has a fucking grenade launcher. Get off my lawn! Just fucking blows him up. So as if the news alone weren't enough to scare you, here are some of the rules on gun control in the U.S. And I quote, "An individual 21 years of age or older may acquire a handgun from a dealer federally licensed to sell firearms in an individual state. An individual of 18 years of age may purchase a rifle or shotgun by any dealer in the state." Those are just your regular run-of-the-mill guns, like hunting rifles. You know, most people have a lot of people have a shotgun under the desk. Handguns aren't that dangerous. But here's something you may not have known. According to the International Police Supply website, you can buy a machine gun or a silencer. That's not in every state, but according to the website, only 5 states in the entire United States ban machine guns for regular citizens like us. I can buy these things and just have them in my house. That leaves people like us to go out and buy a silenced weapon, a sawed-off shotgun, a fucking machine gun. If we are approved, we can buy that. I'm not saying guns are bad. Why do you need a silencer on your weapon?
I don't believe I do, and fully automatic weaponry is kind of overrated. You don't need it. It's not necessary unless if you're serving in the military at that time.
For any of you who are wondering, this is because of the Gun Control Act on the National Firearms Act of 1934, Title 26, blah blah blah, Gun Control Act 1968, which makes these ownerships legal. It's been approved for years. Adam brought out that when you go to the firearms place to buy a gun, you have to fill out like a survey, is it? A survey where they ask certain questions, have you been convicted of a felony, all that. There's a box that says, have you, for example, have you any mental illnesses? Have you ever been admitted to any? Essentially, are you crazy? You can just sit there. If you check off no, they don't legally have to back that up. You can have schizophrenia or any mental illness. Click off no and you're all set. That's it. After they've approved you can take your gun home. There's no way for the gun shop to know if you have a mental illness. If you say no, you're all set.
Wasn't it? I thought I heard in school one time that they do background checks on certain people.
A lot of gun shops do background checks, and it depends, if you check yes, they're definitely going to do a background check on you. Legally, they, can't send you, but you can lie. You can lie, and it doesn't matter. I could go in, I could have a mental illness for all my life. I could go in and say, no, I'm clean, give me a gun.
Even if they did do a background check on you, if you said no, and the government hasn't fully stated that you have these disorders, they can still give you the gun because they do not have physical proof of mental illness.
Right. It's a lot like I'm going to compare it to applying to college. Is you can basically, especially for your FAFSA form, you can put down anything you wanted. You can say, like, some of the questions are, do your parents get any, financial aid from the government? You can say no. There's no way for the college to prove that your parents do or do not get financial aid. It's the same thing. You can say no on the survey, and legally, the gun owners don't have to prove that you do or do not have a mental illness. And obviously, you've heard of some, what do you call them? The incidents over the course of the last few years about gun controls about the horrible acts that people have done with guns, and the NRA has been getting a lot of publicity lately. And Wayne LaPierre, the head of that, has been giving some insight into why he believes that gun violence happens.
Hey, I'm Adam, and I'm meow.
Yeah, Adam's joining us. He's replacing Dakota. Dakota's busy.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to put my insight in on this gun control thing. Control the guns, basically.
Control the guns.
I wasn't really big into, like, caring about gun control until, what got us onto this whole debate, the shooting in Newtown, Connecticut. And,
For those of you who live under a rock and don't know what that is, a mentally ill man shot up an elementary school and killed, 20 kids now? So a little over 20 kids is death toll now, like 5 teachers, and there's several injured people, including kids. Kids have died.
first graders.
It's more specifically first graders.
But a lot of my friends on Facebook have responded to this by saying, we should arm teachers. I just want to give you a heads up that if you're crazy and you want to go shoot up your school and you know that your teachers are armed, you're going to get a bigger weapon.
Right.
It's not going to stop people from shooting up schools. You're going to get a bigger weapon and you're going to kill more people.
I want to pull out some quotes from Wayne LaPierre, the head of the NRA, the National Rifle Association. Here I have 2 quotes from him. Quote number 1, the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. And the second quote is, and this is exactly what he said, he went on live television and said this, I call on Congress today to act immediately to appropriate whatever is necessary to put armed police officers in every school in this nation. Armed police officers in every school in the United States. At our school here, we have a resource officer, which is a man from an officer from the local police station. He's here to talk to kids. He's obviously there to, if anything goes wrong, he's here to protect us. And yes, he is armed. He has what? He has like I
don't know, some sort of handgun.
He has a handgun, and I think he has a small nightstick and handcuffs. That's it. Because a resource officer, that's actually I wouldn't mind a resource officer in a lot of schools, because that's what they do. They're there for the sole reason. And I know our resource officer personally. He's a really cool guy. Wayne LaPierre is talking about armed police force. Like, not just one man who's from the police station who's there. An armed police force with armed to the teeth with whatever the fuck he wants. And I'd just like to point National Rifle Association. So I can only assume that means he wants, armed militia with AK-47s. And honestly, I wish I could give credit to whoever said this, but I honestly can't remember who said it. You have armed policemen, you have men standing outside a school with guns, and that's all you do for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Aren't you gonna get a little bored? You can't protect against guns by using a lot of fucking guns. If you introduce guns into the school, you're just going to bring more violence. There's a lot of households where guns are already in the house. And I'm not talking about, someone having a shotgun under the desk. There's a lot of people with shotguns and handguns, under the desk, in the hand drawer, whatever. And, that just kind of happens. But people are allowed to have AK-47s under their desk. And silenced pistols in their hand drawers.
In England, I think, they don't have any guns. The only people who have the guns are the military. And you know how many gun deaths they have each year? Like 50 or 40 or something like that. You know how many gun deaths we have in our nation? Thousands every single year. Thousands of people are slaughtered by guns.
And yes, it is in the Constitution, the Second Amendment, you have the right to bear arms. But I'd like to bring out a point, and I'm sure a lot of people have already brought up this point, but I just want to share this with people. Back then, in the 1700s, when they made the amendments, that was a time period where you needed a gun. Look at how the American Revolution started. The militia. They had, everyone had a musket. Everyone had a musket.
A musket, not an AK-47.
Yeah, that's another point you bring out is, it's a musket. You need a musket to protect yourself. We don't need militias anymore. We have thousands and thousands of soldiers for that reason. There's not going to be a time where fucking Barack Obama's going to come up and say, we're being repressed by the British, bring out your fucking muskets, let's go, man. And also, like you brought out, they had muskets. Just think, if you're a founding father in the 1700s and all you have is muskets, do you think they could even fathom what type of military weaponry or just weapons generally we have nowadays? They couldn't possibly fathom what we have nowadays. If we went back in time and told them about the tank, they'd probably shit themselves at the thought of we have that technology. We have that technology now. They had that technology. I'm not saying that the Second Amendment isn't a good amendment. I'm saying it's outdated. The amendment itself is outdated. We have the right in the Constitution to update, to change amendments. We live in a different world now. We live in a different world. We're not militiamen. All right.
Here we go.
So, yeah, that's basically it.
This is Razzle Fang, and we're done.
We're out. Let's
and it's gone.